Hey, badass business owner. Do you find yourself working tons of hours, but yet your profits seem to be stuck in the mud? Maybe you are working 60, 70 hours a week, and yet you are still not taking any money out of the business. Heck, if you're lucky enough, you might be making $35,000 to $50,000 a year. What would it be like if you could be pulling out $75,000 or $100,000 in profits versus the minimum needed just to survive? Well, today I want to talk about more than just surviving. I want to talk about how we can get your business to a level that can actually change your life. Can you even imagine working fewer hours and yet making more money? Well, it is possible. Some of you can't even visualize making this kind of money. I get it. When you are busting your butt for so little right now, imagining a crazy number like $100,000 can be mind-boggling. But I promise you, it is possible. You just need a plan, which is why I developed the 8 steps to $100,000 in profits process and put it into a free ebook for you. And today I want to walk through those steps that can help get you to that $100,000. And there is a link in the show notes. Now, the first question I always get is, can anyone follow these steps to get to $100,000 in profits? And usually this question comes to me because either A, they make so little right now they can't even fathom making $100,000, or B, they have a business that they have a hard time figuring out how on earth could you do that much in sales, never mind make that much in profits. So the answer to the first concern of seeing themselves make that kind of money is actually going to be addressed in the 8 steps itself. So we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But as for the type of businesses you run and can you grow it that large, that is a great question that needs to be asked. I will tell you, most businesses have the ability to scale to these numbers. It might take some creativity and some out-of-the-box thinking, but it can be done. I have known of dog walkers making $100,000 in profits, dog poop picker-uppers making $100,000, as well as handymen, house cleaners, you name it. Anybody can do it. No matter if your business is large or small, you just have to think differently. But you know what types of businesses will never make $100,000 in profits? Those that keep doing what they're doing today and expecting a different result. You have to be willing to take the steps needed to make some changes to your business. And if you are, then this is where the 8 steps will come in to help get you on that journey. So if you're ready, I'm going to dive in and go over each of the 8 steps and give you a highlight of what they are. And then you can use the companion ebook. And I'm going to continue to put more podcast episodes and videos out there to help you really dive into these 8 steps. So step 1 is you must set aside 2 to 3 hours a week to start working on your business and not just in your business. Now, I know we talk about this all the time and you've heard it over and over and over. I get it. Time is not your friend and you don't see how on earth you're going to be able to do it. But the reality is, if you want the type of success we're talking about and make the type of money we're talking about, you have to carve out the time to work on the opportunities in your business. You can't keep chasing your tail, because as long as you keep chasing your tail, you're never going to have anything change in your business, and you're just going to keep repeating the same year over and over and over. If you're not going to commit to at least creating this 2 to 3 hours a week, you might as well stop. You might as well not finish listening. You might as well not finish watching. However you are taking in this information, you might as well stop, because you haven't made the mindset change necessary in order for you to get to that $100,000. So the first step, this is why it's number 1, is you must set aside the 2 to 3 hours a week to start working on your business. Can your business grow without doing this? Sure, it might grow, but what's going to happen is eventually you're going to be a victim of your own success because you did not put the pieces in place to help sustain your business and to stay ahead of the game. All right, step number 2 is you need to identify the gap between where you are currently at today and what type of sales you need to be doing to hit your target. I've done several podcast episodes as well as several videos that show you how to work this calculation backwards, because remember, your profits are a certain percentage of your sales. And you might recall from all of our trainings on profit and loss statements, let's say your profitability line is 20%, 30%, whatever the case may be, you can actually use that number and work it backwards to figure out how much you need to do in sales to be able to hit your target. So for example, if you're doing $60,000 a year in profit today, and you want to get to the 100, you know you need to make up 40. If you're sitting at 30 and your first goal is 60, then you know you need to make up the difference of 30. That way you can kind of keep it a manageable number for yourself. Listen, you don't need to be a math whiz. There are several tools, and I'm going to put out some more videos that are going to help you with this piece. Plus, you have to remember that as you get better and better at your processes and fixing your cost of goods and fixing your expenses, what's going to end up happening is your profitability will go up, which means you're going to have to do less sales. But we need to at least know what that gap is to actually begin the process. So number 2 is you need to identify the gap that you're shooting for. Number 3 is, now that you know what the sales number that you need to hit, it's time to create some sales ideas. So in step number 3, you're going to brainstorm all kinds of different sales ideas. You're going to use the 3 buckets I'm always talking about. You need to increase your customers, bring in some new ones. You need to increase your average ticket, which is how much they spend. You need to increase the frequency, how often they return. You need to make sure you take off your I can't hat when you're doing this brainstorming session. You need to write everything down. You need to think about some add-on items that you could add. I just did a video on that talks about add-on items, warranties. You can do frequency cards. I've got some videos on 17 different ways in which you can increase your sales. But in step number 3, you're actually going to do a brainstorming session, just taking everything out of your head and throwing it on paper and letting it see. We're going to see what sticks. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be out of your head and onto paper to give you some ideas. I've got some other videos, and we're going to create some more videos. We've got some podcast episodes on this. But in step 3, we're actually going to be brainstorming some sales ideas. And then when you get to step 4, you're going to take those ideas and you're going to go through them, because you know what, there's going to be some dogs in there. There's going to be some bad ones in there. You're going to pull those out. And by the way, at this stage, you're not really getting hung up on how you're going to do it as much as you want to try to come up with the best 3 to 5 ideas to drive some sales out of all that stuff that you threw. I don't want you to get hung up on the resources that you need or what has to be true in order to make it happen. But what we're trying to do right now is just come up with some ideas that could be some really good, solid ideas to help you grow your business over the next year. And once again, like I said, I'm going to be a broken record on this. I'm going to continue to create some tools and resources to help you through each of these steps. Now, in step number 5, now we need to start working on keeping majority of the money that comes from these sales. So we're going to start looking for ways to start diving into your profit and loss and identifying times when you waste time, times when you waste product, times when you just waste money. You're just throwing money out. We're going to look at your product cost. Can you buy things better? Can you buy in bulk? How can you partner up with somebody? How do you go through the inventory that you already have sitting on your shelf? Because that's just money sitting on your shelf. So in step number 5, we're going to look at all kinds of ways to reduce your costs and your expenses to be able to start boosting that up. Did you know the average person can find about $500-$600 off the bat just from doing the first pass at this, just because of stuff that we pay for that we forgot that we even pay for. Step number 6 is we're going to identify the core processes that are broken in your business. Now, you probably have a ton of broken processes in your business, but here's the thing. If you fix 1 or 2 big ones, it actually takes care of a lot of the little ones. Broken processes are actually the number one reason why people aren't profitable today, and the number one reason why they fail to grow their business, because it's not about you working more hours. Because remember, part of what we want to do is not only get you to $100,000, but also get you to work less hours. In order to do that, we need to fix a lot of those processes. Some examples might be, how you schedule today, how you communicate with your customers, time you lose from going back and forth. We want to find ways that help you gain back time and money, because those are the biggest hurdles that you face in your business today. And if we can fix those processes, believe it or not, you're going to see not only your sales go up, but we're really going to see a difference in your profits and getting those up. Now, number 7 is you need to identify now what resources you need to achieve the game plan that you've been putting together through all these other pieces. What's missing? What do you need? Is there people that you need? Is there equipment that you need? Is there certain ways to do your time? Do you need bookkeeping help? What is it that you need? What are the resources that are going to help you put this plan together that you have been putting together as we go along? Now, in number 8, this is going to be a big one. And this is going to be, just like number 1, finding the time to work on the business was critical to getting going. Number 8 is critical for implementing everything that you've put together through the other steps. And that is, you must act like a $100,000 business. You need to know and understand your business numbers. Most of the time when people aren't making any money in their business, or they're making very little money in their business, they're not paying attention to their business numbers. And if you've been listening or watching my stuff for a while, you know that I'm very big on you knowing your business numbers. There's a reason you make different decisions when you know where your money's going, how it's coming in, and what's happening to it on the way out. You will find that you are keeping more of it when you're paying attention. But you also can use your business numbers to help drive sales because it tells you critical information. It tells you which items you should be selling versus the ones you need to stop wasting your time on. So one big part of acting like you're a $100,000 business is knowing your business numbers. Part 2 is you need to think that way. Your brain thinks differently when it's thinking like a $100,000 business versus a $20,000 business or a $50,000 business. And if you don't believe me, I'll bet you make different types of decisions today than you did when you first started your business. Because as you got better at your business, you started looking at things differently. You started spending money differently. How many times when we go back and say, what were some of the biggest mistakes you made in your business? It's because you learned to run your business differently because of stupid things you did. Well, guess what? If you start thinking today like you're a $100,000 business, you're going to start questioning a lot more. The decisions you make today will be based off of where you're going and not so much where you are or where you've been. Now, I know all these steps might be a little overwhelming and you probably didn't take notes because you're just listening or watching, but don't worry. We're going to, like I said, there's an ebook in the bottom that goes through the 8 steps and you can actually start working out some of this stuff and get going on it right away. I'm also going to start making more videos and more podcast episodes that are going to come out to help you along the way on this journey. I actually rolled this out several years ago and it was pretty popular. People used it to really get their business going to that next level. And I'm dusting it off. I've updated the ebook. I'm going to put a lot more resources together to be able to help you guys out, because I think that now that we've been focusing on learning your business numbers better, you're ready to really dive into this again. And I want to get you to that point where you grow. Now, one last thing, regardless of where you're at today, if you're not taking any money out of your business, $100,000 really does seem so far off into the future. But break it down, okay? If you're not taking money out of your business, the first step is let's get you paid. Let's make sure that you're getting money out of the business. If you're making $20,000, $30,000, then let's get you to 60, 70. If you're at 70, let's get you to that 100. You don't have to go from 0 to 100 right away, but how can we double where you are today, or how can we make big steps from where you're at? Because if you're not getting paid in your business today, you're never going to see anything large. But what you can do is you can say, okay, how do I first make the first commitment that I'm going to start getting paid? And then how do I grow it from there? And I think you're going to be amazed at how much progress you make pretty quickly by just implementing these 8 steps. And here's the cool part. Every time you hit a milestone, you just do it again. You do it again. You do it again. You do it again. These are the same things. These are basic things that you need to be doing at all times, and you'll continue to spiral up and continue to make more and more money. Now, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end, and let's start this journey. And don't forget to get your ebook in the link is in the show notes. Now get out there and be the badass that I know you are.